Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you all for joining. I'm Anmol from PAFLA, and today we have arranged this webinar to introduce our research that we are going to conduct in collaboration with ADB. As you all know that Pakistan stands at the fore when it comes to freelancing. But do we know that how many freelancers are there in Pakistan? If you Google it right now, you will find that some sites will tell you that there are like 2.5 million freelancers, and some will tell you that there are like 3 million freelancers, and some may tell you that there are 3.5 million freelancers. But why don't we know the actual figure of the freelancers in Pakistan? For this purpose, we had this idea of like conducting a research in collaboration with ADB and we presented that idea that got accepted. And today we are here to launch this research with among you all. And we have our guest with us. Can we just have an introduction of you all?
Sangamji, I'm Fad Sheikh. I'm the co-founder and CTO for Pakistan Freelancers Association, and we've been helping and work with ADB for this program. Looking forward. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Umar Zia, and I'm working as a consultant with the Asian Development Bank, and I'm currently providing assistance to this digital ecosystems TA. And I'm also working on this research project.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Nasr Manalla. I work for the Asian Development Bank. Have a background in both private and public sectors. So I look after the digital ICT sector at ADB, in addition to business planning. So again, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Without further ado, let's just get started with the questions we have today. So for Nasser, I have this question that could you just give me an overview of what ADB does in Pakistan and like what is the role of ADB?
ADB is a development finance institution, and it's called DFI for short, but it's also a multilateral bank. Multilateral means that we have uh, uh, different countries in Asia, most countries in Asia, which are our members, and Pakistan is a member of this organization as well. So we finance projects across sectors, transport, agriculture, natural resources, public sector management are among the leading ones. Energy, of course, not to forget energy. And we are looking at ICT sector as a potential growth area as well. We will be making our new country partnership strategy for 5 years. So ICT and digital is something on top of our minds. So this is a new area for us. We haven't done much work in this, but we look at it as a potential growth area for Pakistan. So that's ADB for short. So it's a bank. So we work with the government and the private sector both. So in our portfolio, we have, as I said, projects across sectors. So we have a lending support program through which we lend to the government for projects, and also the private sector. Private sector is about 5% of our portfolio. In addition to that, we have a grant portfolio, which is about $20 million a year, give or take. So it helps us do very many things, and knowledge support is one of them. And which brings me to the technical assistance that we are implementing these days. Zumar is also part of that. It's a very small part of that, but a very significant part of the work that we are doing with freelancers. So we're trying to understand the digital ICT sector through this technical assistance. It's going very well so far. So we have mobilized international consultants. STPI is a local partner for the international consultants. So we're looking to deliver some very significant outputs, apologies, in the next few months. So thank you. I hope I have answered your question. I think I took a bit long. It took a bit longer than I think that's what we do, and hoping to clarify whatever we do through questions. Yeah.
That brings to me to another question that I would like to ask you. Like, there is too much involvement of ADB in different kind of sectors, but what motivated ADB to do this research, like with freelancers and like supporting freelancers and specifically with PAFLA?
Uh, Look, it's we believe that the digital ICT sector uh, is very. I wouldn't use the word vibrant or doing very well, but there are very good things happening in this sector here and there. So, but there is it lacks aggregation and lacks scale. So if we want to support this sector, so first we need to understand this sector. What are the sector's needs? And of course, freelancing is a is a very significant and important part of this ecosystem that we are trying to understand. And PAFLA, of course, is an important player, and they have been supporting the sector for quite a bit. And we want to work with PAFLA to understand the freelance ecosystem, and we have understanding that an encouragement from other players in the ecosystem, in not just the government, that we need to work on this sector so that we have value addition, we have scale, we have aggregation, and everybody comes out smiling and doing better than we are right now. So that's the motivation.
Perfect. Perfect. So the next questions I would like to ask from Fahad. Could you just walk me through like how do you feel is the necessity of of this research, like specifically for freelancers and their demographics? Why should we like do it?
Wonderful. Thank you, Anmol. So primarily, like, I've been involved with this sector for the past 15, you can say, or 4 years. I started as a freelancer, did it for 7 to 6 years, and then I started a company and then did that. But this is a very special sector. This, usually when you want to know, okay, yaar, a software house, how does a software house function? You can just step into a software house and ask them questions. Okay, what are your problems? What are you struggling with? What are the opportunities that we can invest in? It's very easy to understand a company. It's very easy to understand the software digital house industry. But when you're coming to freelancing, it's I say that's a very special industry because it's a very isolated industry. You know, this entire sector doing well, freelancing doing well, I would like to say that this came up as a surprise to the nation. And even in the world, if it's doing well, it came as a surprise because no one anticipated that individuals sitting in their own homes, no one knows about them, can make such a big impact towards the nation and towards the world as well. When I started freelancing, this, this used to be a phenomena where people used to say कि मैं बोलता हूँ कि मैं freelancing करता हूँ, तो they also अच्छा ठीक है काम क्या करते हो, what do you actually do? अच्छा मैंने बोला मैं घर से काम करता हूँ, तो बोले घर से तो काम नहीं होता, कहीं ना कहीं तो ऑफिस जाते हो. So initially there were a lot of questions, a lot of queries, a lot of misunderstanding, and that was all understood. समझ में आता है कि आखिर कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि someone sitting in a small town is working in the global world. Someone who's sitting in, for example, an area where you don't even have internet, but is still contributing and working in the global workforce. So this is a very strange phenomenon. So now, to understand that, you need certain measures which are unconventional, which are you have to step out of your way to understand this audience in this sector. And now this research was much anticipated. Any stakeholder that we meet, the first question that they ask is कि, how do you communicate? How do you understand the needs of this sector, and where do you invest? How do you even know what the problems are? And that was the basis why even this non-profit PAFLA was created. So we can highlight all of these problems. We can become sort of a beacon, a sort of a support system for these freelancers, because they're sitting at homes, right? They need someone that they can represent, and it works both ways, right? If we represent freelancers, and we also represent other stakeholders through freelancers. There used to be a very frustration amongst freelancers that we are not addressed, we are not, our challenges are not uh, uh, they're taken for granted. And the main reason for that is because when we talk to stakeholders, they weren't even aware that हमें पता कैसे चलेगा, right? So that was the reason why this non-profit was created, and that is the very main reason why we need to conduct a thorough research. We need to understand this workforce, we need to understand what their challenges are, we need to understand what the opportunities are, and what we can do, and compile it in a report. Honestly, why we haven't done it since so long is because we were looking for a very credible partner, and alhamdulillah we found ADB in the shape of it, and really happy with how things are going. And and the last thing I would like to say, as part of this question is that, as a freelancer, if you're watching this, this is your time to shine, right? Now we'll be throwing a lot of opportunities on our social media channels, and through email as well. But you need to step up right now. You need to address the all the difficulties that you've been facing, and you need to address all the opportunities that you would like to be presented with. So much awaited, really happy for this launch, really happy for this webinar. And thank you so much, ADB. Thank you so much, Atosa. Thank you so much, Zuma. And that's hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Now that we have a clarity of how important this research is going to be, Zumar, can you just walk us through with what aspects this research is going to cater?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Anmol. So we have a number of different research objectives that we are tackling in this as part of this project. So first of all, we are attempting to understand the current size of the freelancing market in Pakistan, and then we are looking at demographic features. So, for example, the age distribution of freelancers, their geographic location, their educational backgrounds, etc. So, we're also looking at the gender distribution in this community. Then we are assessing the income levels of freelancers. So, for example, what are their monthly incomes and how much they contribute to their household expenditures and to the national GDP as well. Then we also identifying the most common skill sets that freelancers have and the skills that they're selling in the marketplace. And then also see that how these skills, how they align with the skills that are in demand globally. And consequently, we are trying to identify if there are any gaps in the market that can be filled. Following on from this, we are attempting to understand how freelancers acquire these skills and how do they upskill themselves, and also the potential of various upskilling and skill development platforms and organizations that are currently in operation. And then we are also going to identify, so this is a major part of the project, that we're identifying the major challenges that are faced by the freelancing community. So a number of different concerns have been highlighted over time, over the years, that are continually affecting the freelance industry. These include a number of problems like like issues with payment platforms, taxation issues, payment security problems, maybe lack of good workspaces and internet infrastructure, among others. So this study is aiming to understand the significance and extent of these problems. And these are just some of the major research objectives of this study.
Perfect. So, can you just give me an overview of what methodologies you're going to use to conduct this research and collect the data for this research?
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you for that, Anmol. So, the research and data collection process has a quantitative as well as a qualitative aspect to it. So, with regards to the quantitative data collection, we have designed a survey which will allow us to gather information with regards to the majority of the study objectives that I have discussed. I have already outlined in the previous question. So this survey will be circulated to the PAFLA database that we have to all of the PAFLA members through email and social media, as well as to other freelance communities as well. So there are a number of different freelance communities on social media and other platforms. So this survey will be disseminated to all of them. But the primary audience will be the PAFLA database, that the PAFLA community. And as soon as the results come in, this data will go through a thorough data analysis process, so which will allow us to derive the required insights. This is the quantitative aspect of the project. And then the second part of the research is qualitative data collection, so which we will be doing through detailed and very in-depth interviews. So we have mapped out stakeholders to be interviewed, which include freelancer profiles from a variety of age groups, from a number from both genders, from age brackets, from different age brackets and skill sets. Aside from this, we are also contacting persons and organizations that work in support of freelancers, persons from various government departments and industry associations, etc. So we have done this stakeholder mapping process, and we are doing these interviews, these qualitative interviews, and all of these interviews will allow us to get a more nuanced understanding of the freelance landscape in the country and the perspectives of all of the different stakeholders. And of course, aside from this, we are conducting secondary research as well. So this is a part of the project as well. So to understand basically the gaps in previous research, which have been done on the same subject and on the same topic.
Okay, good. So my next question is from Nasser. How do you foresee the impact of this research, like the collaboration and the actual research? How what is going to be the impact of this research, basically? You are not audible.
Sorry, apologies for this. First of all, I would, really want to thank Vimal for being on board and, uh, you know, accepting to do this work. He's a very talented person, and I look forward to seeing what she will come up with. And I like the methodology, and I really hope that she gets all the support from Rafa also. Um, so, as to as to the impact of the research, I think what Fad also mentioned some very key points that there is merit in sort of trying understanding this important subject. And while different people may feel differently about it, but advantages of the sector, one or two people, 20 people doing things in different places in Pakistan and doing well is a good thing. And some may even have scaled up through their own efforts. But there is a lot of merit in sharing, success stories and sharing best cases where people have faced problems and they've negotiated those problems very well. So it's not a question of really, uh, you know, uh, trying to solve the problems. It's also about bringing out that knowledge, which I think people who are freelancers also need to understand. There is a huge number of people in this country who are looking towards us to share that information, looking towards Tesla, for example, looking towards people who have been successful to share their knowledge with the rest of the community. So, I mean, there are people who are hopeful who want to do this. I know so many people who can be very talented, who are talented, and can work in this area. So that's one aspect of it. And secondly, I think no sector can do really very well unless
I really appreciate your response.
yeah. So unless you scale it up, so you have to achieve scale. You have to achieve value addition in what you're producing. So if you achieve value addition, you can earn more for your time. So there are people who may be making good amount of money as an individual, which is really very good, and and I agree with less appreciated. We can't appreciate this sector and the people who have contributed to this to make us number 4 in the world as much as we should do that. But there is merit in value addition in terms of the quality of the software, in terms of quality of the products that we can produce, getting to new markets, for example. So there is, if you share that information and bring people together to bring that knowledge to the table, so everybody stands to gain something. And that's the role, that's the impact that, World Bank, people like World Bank, people like ADB can bring to the table, because we can denominate that aggregation of knowledge and bringing together of people. And of course, at this secondary level, what we hope to do is, you know, you can't have digital transformation in the country. You can be an island in a country which is not performing. Their freelancing community is a community which is performing in an ecosystem which is not performing. So what we want to do is also to promote and support that ecosystem which starts performing, where the stakeholders are, you know, interacting with each other in a very symbiotic way, where there is scale to the sector, and where people notice that the sector is performing, adds to the GDP, contributes to exports, and you have the next level growth in terms of having more corporatization, for example, more companies. And for ADB also, maybe within the ecosystem, also look at some very hard projects. Uh, for example, a data center, a data governance framework in place. So, uh, technology zones which are functioning and working, functional technology zones which function according, because, people like Fahd would understand, because if you look at the
Yeah,
technology right now, you will say, oh, no, ye kya karne ki zarurat hai? Then nothing is happening there. So we want to have functional things in this ecosystem. So
yeah,
that's our interest and
absolutely.
that's our impact that we want to create.
So my next question is from Zoomer. What do you think will be the expected challenges when like gathering the comprehensive data from for this research?
That's a good question, Anmol. So, we do anticipate a few challenges with regards to the data collection. So, gathering comprehensive data on the freelance landscape of Pakistan presents several distinct challenges which we have to navigate carefully to ensure the accuracy and representativeness of our findings. So, first of all, the sheer diversity and scope of the freelance sector in Pakistan is a challenge. So, as we know, that freelancers operate in various fields from tech to the creative industries. Their work patterns, income levels, professional experiences vary widely. So, capturing this breadth in a single study is challenging. Another challenge lies with regards to the representation. So it's important that it's crucial, actually, that our data is not skewed towards a particular segment of the freelance population. So it needs to be representative of the entire freelance population. So to address this, we are employing strategies like stratified and random sampling. So this approach will ensure that and the analysis that we do, that it's based on a data set that accurately reflects the broader freelance community. And so these were the challenges that we may face with the quantitative aspect. Additionally, there's the challenge of collecting and interpreting the qualitative data. So as I described previously, that we are interviewing a diverse range of stakeholders to gain a nuanced understanding of the freelance landscape. However, synthesizing this qualitative data into actionable insights, so that will require a lot of careful analysis to avoid biases and just to ensure that the voices of everyone, of all stakeholders, are heard and accurately represented. So these are some of the major challenges that we have anticipated with this study, and we are also attempting to mitigate these challenges.
I would like to, sorry, Anmol, I 2 seconds. Can you hear me?
Ji, ji.
Yeah. So now, on behalf of the freelancing community, I know there are certain things that we are a bit touchy about, right? Um, and that is how we collect data, and is data secure and private, right? First, let me address this, and then I'll also ask you to a bit, because we said, okay, we'll be asking about income, we'll be asking about the challenges, some specific things that कभी कभी घबरा जाते हैं. This is something that we've been insecure about as a community. So first and foremost, again, uh, to address this question, we see data as a whole, and correct me if I'm wrong, Suma, we see data as a whole, not as an individual, right? So you don't need to be worried about your data being public, your data being we won't ever do that without your consent, right? and that is as a policy that we take it. And you can even I think we are having one-on-one interviews. We are also having a survey, which I think which Zumar, I would like to like you to elaborate on a bit as well. But even all of those are based on anonymity. It's up to the candidate how much and how they want to reveal, and 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 how we collect data and how we present it is something that we take it very seriously. So freelancers, you don't have to worry about that. We've taken care of that. But I would also like Sumar to elaborate, if she can, that is there anything that
Yes, definitely.
we should
That's
work
a
on?
that's an important thing that you've important point that you have raised, Fahad. Thank you for that. So we have definitely ensured the data protection and privacy in this study, in the survey, as well as in the interviews. So the survey that we're circulating, we understand that information like your income levels and everything, the demographic profile, all of this information is sensitive for most individuals. So the survey that we have circulated is completely anonymous. There is an option to submit your name, but you don't have to submit your name. It's completely optional. So the data that we collect, it will be kept completely confidential, and only the overall insights will that are derived. For example, maybe how many freelancers are present in the different provinces. So some major overall insights, overall statistics, they will be published in the report. The individual information will not be available anywhere. So आपने जो भी अपनी इंडिविजुअल इंफॉर्मेशन अपना प्रोफाइल अपना उसके बारे में आपने जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन दी है दैट विल नॉट बी अवेलेबल एनीवेयर. So that's about the survey. उसके अलावा जो interviews हैं, interviews obviously they are completely voluntary. कि if you are willing to participate in the interview, then you are definitely we'll reach out to you. Otherwise तो obviously participation interview में आपकी नहीं होगी. उसमें भी जो भी आपने insights दी हैं, जो भी आपने perspectives अपना share किया है, that will also not be named with your name in the report. तो हम आपका नाम उसमें मेंशन नहीं करेंगे कहीं पे भी. जो जो भी आपने इन्फॉर्मेशन दी है, जो भी आपने कहा है, your name will not be mentioned anywhere. So that will just be like a general finding that we have done from the research. उसके अलावा the only thing that we are asking from a few people is that we are trying to map out journeys of successful individuals. Okay, maybe who started at some stage and then now they are doing well in their freelancing journey. We want to highlight their journeys. So for that, we are taking obviously we are we'll only be highlighting those journeys जिन लोगों ने proper इसके लिए agree किया हुआ है. And before doing that, we'll also pre-approve whatever we are going to share about them. We will pre-approve from those individuals. So no one needs to worry about the data protection and privacy because that has been absolutely ensured in the study.
Thank you for that. I think Nasser Saab has something to add.
Yeah, thank you, Anmol. I wanted to add something to what Zamar has explained so very well. I think, as I said, ADB is not interested in the individual. We're not. We're only interested in the sector. We, I am interested in the insights that Sumar is going to bring out from the report, because what we're doing is that आपको मैं बताता हूँ कि through this grant we uh, are preparing a country level digital assessment. So country का digital, and we call it country digital diagnostics. Ecosystem का diagnostics हम पूरा कर रहे हैं. और उसके अंदर in any case you know we will talk about freelancing, and there is a set of people who will be working on that. So this particular study that Zumar is doing, no doubt, is going to feed into that. But it sort of also will be helpful for ADB and for PAFLA to bring out the issues that the sector faces and which can benefit from any government policy changes. And it's not about individual, it's for the sector. So हमारा interest individual में बिल्कुल नहीं है, और we will not be requesting any sort of data from PAFLA. So if you trust PAFLA, so it's up to them. and that's not our interest. We want to understand the sector. क्या issues हैं, कौन इसको ठीक कर सकता है,
Yeah.
और इसको किधर लेके जाया जा सकता है, और हम इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं. That's our interest. Just speaking very plainly. So I just wanted to add that to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So my next question is from Fahad. How PAFLA intends to utilize the findings of this research? Like, are there any initiatives aligned after this research?
Yeah, this as I've mentioned, this is an extraordinary effort that we've been longing for since a very long time. Yeah, हम बहुत टाइम से चाह रहे थे कि एक compiled document हो that we can address and work on. So Alhamdulillah, this is on the way, and this is the first of many actions that we see as a resultant of this partnership. Um, as soon as this research is compiled, first and foremost, so we have to make the results public. We'll make sure that it's available, so people can understand. People can have a peek behind the curtain. They can not just understand the challenges, but also appreciate the opportunities. Um, and after that, this is something that will highlight a lot of things that PAFLA as an organization would like to focus on. For example, if we need to, if we know that this particular sector needs to be worked on, then our entire strategy, I mean, sector within sector, that's what I mean. For example, this location that we've highlighted, there's this region that we've highlighted, this income stream that we've highlighted. All of this data would help us make better decisions, and we would drive our strategy around that. So one of the metrics that I think we should be really focusing on is, you know, uh, this research uh, is going to be very helpful for not just PAFLA, not just ADB, but everyone in the country, all stakeholders, including the central bank, including the banking industry, including the public and private sector. They're all waiting for this. Uh, as I said, the first thing that they used to mention is, okay, how many freelancers are there? Okay, how much do they earn? Are they actually sitting at homes, or do they go somewhere to work? Uh, how do they do this? How is it even possible? So all of these answers will finally be uh, compiled in the form of a document. So this is a wonderful thing that we're doing, and a lot of good things will come out of it, inshallah.
Yeah, we have pretty much discussed everything, I believe. So, can we just start with the closing remarks from each of the speakers?
So I would like first. I would like to go first, if that's
Okay.
okay. So you know, so we've been working with ADB. We started this partnership, but it has been a very excellent experience. Thank you so much, Nasasa, for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Duma, for taking this up. And I've learned a lot. Nasasa, when you जब आप बात करते हैं, I can sense that there's a lot of experience behind what you're saying. And there's something that I look forward to, that I can learn a lot of things from you, from ATP, from the bank. And as far as this research goes, I'm really happy how this is going. I'm really happy that we're finally doing. And addressing the freelancers who are watching, as I said, this is your time to shine. You have a responsibility to contribute towards this research. If you in any gathering of yours say that this is the problem that we are facing, and you do not use this research as an opportunity to address it, you're missing out big time. So this is your opportunity to highlight. This is your opportunity to shine. This is your opportunity to contribute. Make the best out of it, and I'm looking forward to hear back from everyone.
Thank you, Fahad. Thank you. So, Nasir, would you like to say something?
Uh, I agree with Fahad, and I also thank him and PAFLA for this partnership. And when the idea was brought to us, we were already working on this diagnostic, which is a bigger initiative. But thank you for bringing this to our attention. Because I was always very interested in this freelancing landscape, but somehow I was so busy in the other things that this didn't occur to me that uh, and the idea came up during a meeting that we had with Prepla, and it was just a chance meeting. And the Kyle said, maybe we can, you can help us do this research, and I can really understand why PAFLA would want to do it, and I can also understand why it hasn't been done so far, and I can also understand some of the concerns around this particular study. As I said, I have a public sector background. I totally understand, uh, you know, uh, why people want to do it and why some people might be worried about a few things. In this country, if I'm चीजें ठीक चल रही हो तो आप कह रहे हैं यार क्या so I'm more focused on what I am achieving at the end of the day. So I'm not looking at the big picture, which is just human nature, and that's all fine. But जैसे आपने ग्रो किया वैसे देर आर आपके भाई बहन और भी हैं. I have some good stories. There are people in KP, who might want to. They ask us, for example, they ask me, and I'm not an expert. I'm not a freelancer. I want to understand. I know that people have done really very well, but in this country where you have this employment issue, and you have people who are coming out of universities, freelancing presents a good opportunity. So, by all means, I would request people to share some of their experiences, and some of your concerns also. Maybe it's the public policy, and our support is not just about getting good things out into the open, but also some of your worries and concerns and how they can be addressed. It can be somebody asked me yesterday. I had a student from FAST asking me questions, and they said, how do you manage stress in an organization? So it can be stressful operating alone. Freelancing जब आप खुद ही जिम्मेदार हैं हर चीज़ के कॉस्ट बेनिफिट के अपनी बैलेंस शीट के तो it can be worrisome at times शुरू में. So, but it's good to talk and share your concerns, and if it grows the pie, if a certain problem is addressed. मैं आपको ना बड़ी एक simple example देता हूँ. Most of the people on this call will be very young. Let's say back in 1998, or may not even have been born, some of the freelancers. बट आपको याद नहीं होगा जब पहले इंटरनेट आया 95 में, तो इंटरनेट एक अजीब DSL आया तो लोगों ने कहा बहुत अच्छा हो गया, इस पे हम डायल करते थे. इनिशियली इट वाज ओनली एन ईमेल व्हिच UNDP यूज्ड टू गिव एंड यू हैड टू पे फॉर इट. अच्छा, मोबाइल फोन आए तो दे वर सो ह्यूज एंड बिग कि आप मोबाइल फोन कॉल लोग करते थे भी डरते थे बिकॉज इट वाज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव एंड यू हैड टू पे इवन फॉर रिसीविंग अ कॉल. तो एक तो महंगा फ़ोन, ऊपर से लोगों को शौक भी होता था कि अब हम दिखाएं भी कि हमारे पास मोबाइल फ़ोन है, तो वो बैग की तरह न लटका के फिर रहे होते. लेकिन वो नंबर भी नहीं देते थे कि जी हमें कोई कॉल करेगा तो हमें बड़ा खर्चा होएगा. So it was a very strange and very funny situation actually. But what happened? Somebody actually try to understand the sector. उसने कहा जी सेक्टर ग्रो कैसे करें. So एक सिंपल पॉलिसी 98 में आई है कि इट वाज अ सिंपल रूल which is called CPP. उन्होंने कहा जी कॉलिंग पार्टी पे. अच्छा, आई रिमेंबर पहले 2 कंपनियां थी, फिर उसके बाद 2-3 और आ गई 2003 में. कॉलिंग पार्टी पेज का था भाई, जिसने फ़ोन करना है पैसे भी वही देगा. उसके बाद देखें ग्रोथ ऐसी हुई कि 15 लाख उसमें एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हुई, नई कंपनियां आ गई, गवर्नमेंट को रेवेन्यू मिला. लुक एट द नंबर ऑफ पीपल हु आर सेलिंग मोबाइल फोन्स, लुक एट द नंबर ऑफ पीपल हु आर फिक्सिंग मोबाइल फोन्स, besides the number of people who are using mobile phones. 88% very density है. Also look at the people who are stealing mobile phones and making money out of bugging people and so on. So that's also a kind of employment. So that's how one policy changed the entire sector. So आपकी वो कहने का मेरा मकसद ये है कि when you are discussing, तो one small thing can lead to you are fixing. It's called the चीज कहाँ जाके क्या चीज बन जाए. So that's my request कि आप जरूर इसको शेयर करें, कंसर्न भी शेयर करें, अच्छी बातें भी शेयर करें, लोगों के काम आएंगी, हमारे काम आएंगी, आपके काम आएंगी, केक बड़ा होगा, सब लोग मिलके खाएंगे, सब खुश होंगे, पाकिस्तान का भी फायदा होगा. ठीक है. और दूसरा एक और बात इम्पोर्टेंट आई वांटेड टू मेंशन दैट we would also like to. I was in Korea 3 times this year. उनका इकोसिस्टम स्टार्टअप्स भी देखे, फ्रीलांसर्स को भी मिले. तो इंटरनेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज आपके लिए ओपन होंगी. वी वुड आल्सो लाइक टू शेयर अपॉर्चुनिटीज. एडीबी स्पेंड्स अ लॉट. एज आई सेड, $20 million हम खर्च करते हैं ग्रांट्स पे. उसका काफ़ी सारा हिस्सा इंटरनेशनल ट्रेनिंग्स हैं. सो देर आर टाइम्स व्हेन उसका भी कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी आ जाती है. वैसे तो ज़्यादा गवर्नमेंट के लिए होती है, बट भी आएंगे. सो वर्ल्ड बैंक भी बहुत ज़्यादा करता है, तो बायलैटरल बहुत ज़्यादा करते हैं दूसरी का. तो इट्स ऑलवेज एडवांटेजेस. So that is just what I also wanted to mention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nasser. I would like Zumar to add something if you would like to.
Yes, thank you so much, Anmol. So Nasser and Fahad, they have already stressed on the importance of this research at this current point in time. So I'll not elaborate on that. I'll just point out the significance of the support that the PAFLA community should provide us during this. So I'll just request everyone who's watching and everyone who will maybe watch this later that you should please take your time out in filling the survey that we will be circulating through your email and through our social media handles as well. Also, I also want to invite anyone if anyone wants to participate in a discussion with us or an interview with us, if they think that they have a perspective that we should hear, I would encourage you to please reach out to us. There's a form, there's a section in the survey that indicates if you would want if you would want to have a conversation with us. So we would love to talk to you, and just looking forward to the support of the PAFLA community. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes. So stay tuned to our page. We will be posting very soon for the one-on-one interview. Anyone who is interested to share their stories, we would love to hear from you. Please sign up to the form and also fill the survey. We will be sharing in a while. Thank you all. Thanks for joining, and thank you all the speakers. It was lovely talking to you all and discussing the crucial. Yeah. Are you saying something? Yeah.
No, thank you,
So we will
thank you,
end this discussion right now. And thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz.
thank you, thank you. Take care.
Thank
Have a nice